Actually, you've got a lot of rifles in here. They just don't look like Winchester rifles. Now, I'm at least smart enough to know that Winchester lever-action rifle didn't just spring out of the ground fully formed. There had to have been some kind of an evolution. I'm guessing this was it?
Well, in this case is really representative of the attempts of all the different repeaters that became ultimately the Winchester. And this is actually a really exciting time in the mid-19th century. Everyone is trying to come up with an efficient, effective way of doing their version of a repeating firearm. And of course, we all know of Sam Colt's revolvers, but we also know of a couple of lesser-known guys known as Hunt. We have a Hunt repeater, and we also have a Jennings repeater, and those are two repeating rifles. And those names sometimes get forgotten in history, but they did lay a foundation in what would become the Winchester repeating rifle. But quick question here, who invented the magazine pistol patent that would go on to become the Winchester lever action?
The magazine
pistol patent is what it was called, that would go on to become the Winchester lever action.
Well, I know it wasn't John Browning.
Yeah, you keep popping up.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Henry because I know he was kind of involved in the early rifles. There was the Henry rifle, and that preceded
and
Winchester.
You'd be correct, but actually the first pistol patent for this was the Smith & Wesson.
Smith & Wesson?
Can you believe it?
Wow.
You know, Smith & Wesson, they were kind of fighting at that point. They wanted to work with the revolver, but they were working on this self-contained cartridge, and they couldn't make the revolver because Sam Colt held the patent. So they developed the small volcanic lever action. Here's the rub.
Volcanic.
Volcanic. It didn't fire self-contained cartridges.
That's the one that had the powder in the back of the bullet itself, right?
They actually lovingly called it the weak volcanic cartridge.
Yeah,
and so when it comes to invention, sometimes it's not about who invents it, it's about who improves it and capitalizes on it. So they actually sold it to Oliver Winchester in 1855, and he was a shirt manufacturer at the time. And Oliver Winchester took that design, and he made the New Haven Arms Company, and he produced these volcanics, as they were known, these lever actions that still fired that rocket ball ammunition, that caseless ammunition.
Now at that time, was Henry involved with this?
Henry was about to become involved with it because he had the key. And the Henry rifle, which comes into 1860, is the first of the lever actions of that kind that can finally fire the self-contained metallic cartridge. And so basically you can see the step-by-step process.
Now Henry, he must have invented that cartridge because it's called the 44 Henry Flat.
Well, actually, he didn't necessarily invent the self-contained concept. The self-contained concept actually went back overseas to Europe, a guy named Flaubert, and then Smith & Wesson also worked on that. And
the 22 short.
Yes, the 22 short, and you can always see how the different companies kind of work together, and how some companies, you know, take an idea and they just run with it, like Winchester. And Oliver Winchester was certainly an intelligent guy to be able to take that patent, which to Smith & Wesson was unsuccessful, and he saw the idea, and he grew that idea and partnered with the right people like Henry to make it move forward, and ultimately with Nelson King, who would make that side loading gate on the first gun that would be known as Winchester, the model 1866.
Wow.
So is your head spinning?
Yes, it is. It's completely spun. It's like The Exorcist right here. This is crazy. Hey, if you want to find out more details, if you can handle them, there are plenty of details right here in this museum, and Ashley, she really knows her stuff. Come and visit at Cody, Wyoming. Winchester history is just all over this place. They've got more firearms. I don't know, if probably 90% of the firearms Winchester ever made are right here in this room. So if you want a complete lesson on the history of Winchester firearms, you could do worse than to visit the Cody Firearms Museum. And while you're waiting for that road trip to get out here, jump online because this is the 150th anniversary of Winchester. Lots of history and information at winchester.com. And if they want more information on your museum in Cody, they can
go to centerofthewest.org.
Bingo. It's all here.
We're what you tell.